Hey everyone, welcome back to Stage Midlife. I'm Amy, and I'm really glad you're here today. Before I get into today's topic, I just want to say, if you're new here, welcome. This channel is about honest conversations around midlife, the transitions, the identity shifts, the things that change, and the things that you have to let go of. If that sounds like something you need right now, hit subscribe and stay a while. Today's topic is one I have been thinking about for a long time. Energy, relationships, and the people in our lives who fills us up, and the ones who quietly empty us out. This one is personal, more personal than usual. So I'm going to ask you to stay with me. There's something that happens in midlife that I don't think gets talked about enough. You start feeling things more clearly. Not because I was falling apart or having some major crisis, more like the noise settles a little. Life slows down just enough, and suddenly you can feel things you were too busy to notice before. One of the clearest things I started feeling when I stepped back from remote nursing and came home, when I finally stopped flying in and out and just stayed, was how differently I felt around different people. Some people I'd spend time with and walk away feeling lighter, more like me, energized. And others, I'd walk away feeling like something had been quietly taken from me. I had always known this on some level. But at 40, with more space and more stillness than I had in years, I couldn't ignore it anymore. And that's when I started what I now call, without really planning to, an energy audit. Let me start at work, because that's where I spent most of my adult life. When you work in emergency nursing, especially in the rural and remote, you form these intense bonds with your colleagues. You have to. You are in the middle of nowhere together, dealing with things that most people will never see, relying on each other completely. Those relationships are real, and I'm genuinely grateful for many of them. But there's also a culture in that world that I think quietly does a lot of damage. The culture of martyrdom, where exhaustion is a badge of honor. We're saying, I haven't had a proper day off in 3 weeks, is said with pride. We're having needs, rest, boundaries, time for yourself, is somehow seen as weakness. I absorbed that culture for nearly 2 decades, and I didn't even realize how much it had shaped the way I showed up in all my relationships, not just at work. I became the person who always showed up, always gave, always had capacity for everyone else's problems. And I quietly trained the people around me to expect that from me. The colleague who only calls when they need something. The workplace dynamic where your value is measured by how much you sacrifice. The slow erosion of your own needs because everyone else's needs always seemed more urgent. Leaving remote nursing meant leaving a lot of that. And I won't lie, it was both a relief and a loss at the same time. Now I want to talk about something that I think shaped me even before nursing did. Growing up as a Filipina comes with a lot of beautiful things. Community, warmth, resilience, a deep sense of loyalty and love for family. But it also comes with something that took me a long time to examine honestly. This deeply ingrained sense of obligation. The feeling that you owe the people around you, especially your family, an endless supply of yourself. Your time, your energy, your sacrifice, and that your own needs and your own happiness come last. For a long time, I carried that without questioning it. It just felt like love, like who I was. But over time, I started to understand that some of that wasn't love. Some of it was just old programming, expectations I had inherited rather than chosen. And when I got honest with myself about certain relationships where the energy only ever flowed one way, I had to make some really painful decisions. I'm going to be careful here because I don't want to speak unkindly about anyone. These are real people and I love them. I want to say that first. But I think it would be dishonest of me to talk about energy and relationships without acknowledging this part of my story. There are people in my life, people I love deeply, who could not accept who I am, not what I do, not my choices, but who I fundamentally am as a person. And for a long time, I tried to manage that. I apologized for the things that didn't need apologizing for. I made myself smaller. I carried the weight of their disappointment like it's my responsibility to fix. And what it did to me, slowly over time, was take me to a very dark place. Anxiety that sat in my chest like a stone. A sadness I couldn't shake. A version of myself that was so busy trying to be acceptable to others that she had stopped being real. Eventually, I had to make a choice. And I chose myself. It is not a choice I made easily or happily. There was grief in it. There still is. Because you can love people completely and still understand that the relationship as it exists is hurting you. Those two things can be true at the same time. I don't carry anger toward anyone I've had to step back from. I carry love and I carry sadness. And I carry the hope that maybe one day things look different. But I also carry something else now. Something I didn't have before. Peace. Working the way I worked, moving constantly, never in one place long enough to put down roots, meant that deep, consistent friendships were really hard to build. When you're a travel nurse working across rural and remote Australia, you meet people briefly and intensely. You bond quickly because the work demands it, and then you move on. Or they do, and the connection just doesn't always survive the distance. For a long time, I told myself that was fine. I'm independent. I don't need a big social circle. I'm good on my own. And mostly, that was true. But stepping back from that lifestyle also meant being honest about something. Some of the connections I thought were friendships were really just circumstance. Shared location, shared shifts, shared exhaustion. Take those things away, and there wasn't always much left underneath. What I have now is small and real. A few people who have nothing to do with where I work or what I do. People I don't see constantly but who I know, genuinely know are there. No performance required, no keeping score. Just quiet, solid, unconditional presence. And honestly, that feels like more than enough. I want to talk about the other side of this because this isn't only a story about loss and letting go. 17 years ago, I chose a person, and that choice, that single relationship, has been the most consistently nourishing thing in my adult life. Coming home, staying home, waking up in the same place every morning with the person I love. After years of flying in and out, of long stretches apart, of saying goodbye over and over again, that shift has done something to me that I'm still finding words for. I feel like myself again. not the performing one, not the strong one, not the one with endless capacity for everyone else, just me. There's something incredibly healing about being in a relationship where you do not have to earn your place, where you are not tolerated or managed or accepted conditionally, where you are just loved fully as you are. If you have that, I hope you know how rare it is. And if you don't have it yet, I hope you know it exists. And I hope you know you deserve it. Here's the one we always leave until last: the relationship with yourself. As a nurse, a migrant, a daughter, a wife, a friend, I have spent my entire adult life oriented toward other people's needs. And I'm not complaining about that. I chose those roles and I love them. But there is an unspoken cost to always being the one who gives. At some point, you have to ask, when did I last show up for myself the way I show up for others? When did I last check in on my own needs with the same urgency I bring to everyone else? That question used to make me feel uncomfortable. It felt selfish. It felt indulgent. Now, I think it might be the most important question I've ever asked myself. And this is actually where I want to pause for a second and mention something. If you're watching this and any of this is resonating, if you're sitting there thinking, yes, I feel this, but I don't even know where to start, I made something for you. It's called the Clarity Kit, and it's completely free. It's a printable guide designed specifically for this season of life, midlife. It helps you get honest about where you actually are right now, what your priorities really are, what matters most to you in this chapter, not what used to matter, not what other people think should matter, what matters to you now. I made it because I wish something like it had existed when I was first trying to make sense of all of this. The link to download it is in the description below. If you've been feeling a little lost or a little unclear about what this next chapter is supposed to look like, start here. It won't solve everything, but it might help you see things a little more clearly. Before I close, I want to leave you with a few questions to sit with, not to answer out loud, just to hold. After spending time with this person, do I feel energized or depleted? Am I in this relationship out of genuine love and connection or out of obligation and guilt? Who in my life actually asks how I am and waits for the real answer? When did I last spend energy on myself the way I spend it on others? You don't have to answer those today, but I think they're worth asking. Before I go, I want to leave you with one more thought. After everything I've talked about today, the relationships I've had to step back from, the ones that fill me up, the energy I'm learning to protect, there's a question that's been sitting with me. Am I starting over, or have I actually just arrived somewhere? Next time, I want to talk about that, about contentment, what it actually feels like, and why, after a lifetime of chasing the next thing, just feeling okay with where I am almost feels like its own kind of achievement. I think you'll relate to this one. Midlife has a way of making the energy exchange in your relationships impossible to ignore. You start feeling it more clearly, who fills you up or who empties you out. And you start realizing that protecting your energy is not selfish. It is necessary. And at 40, I am finally taking that seriously. If this resonated with you, I would really love to hear from you in the comments. You don't have to share anything you're not comfortable with. Even just a yes, I feel this, means more than you know. Because this stuff can feel very lonely. And I want you to know you're not alone in it. If you haven't already grabbed the Clarity Kit, it's free. It's in the description. If this video stirred something in you, and you want a quiet place to start sorting through it, that's what it's there for. If you're new here, again, welcome. Consider subscribing so you don't miss future videos. I put out honest videos about midlife, identity, transitions, and what it actually looks like to start choosing yourself in your 40s. No highlight reels, no perfect answers, just real conversations. If you've been here from the beginning, thank you. Your support means everything to me. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.